In this new sprint, we're just gonna go over techniques of how to improve your model and how to create some of these shapes that we have here. Since you already know the basic of modeling, texturing, and importing, all we're gonna do is go into a little bit more advanced techniques of how to create meshes looking like cloth and all these pieces that we have in this reference, so that you can model these props and bring them in. I already did some of them in advance, and the only thing we need to do is bring them in, and we're going to focus more in creating your final environment so that you can submit it at the end of the sprint. So if we move into Maya, we can see I've already modeled these pieces right here. I haven't still textured them or UV'd them, but I'll do that offline, which is the same process we've been going through these two sprints. So I created a simple door, knob, this little piece, which is this one right here, which is empty. I also did the roof, and I made this whole thing one piece so that I can just pop it in the scene. What we did here was I grabbed the roof. So I went into the outliner, I grabbed my roof, duplicated it, and selected all these faces, delete them, grab all these vertices and made them straight. Then I just closed the mesh. Since I didn't need none of these faces from the inside, I just deleted all of these and closed the model. So if you see my other model, I just closed on the bottom. So what I did to get that space in the middle was grab all these faces, delete them, put the pivot in the middle, duplicate it, then scale it on the x-axis -1. Then you have the gap, and then all you want to do is grab all these edges, press F to frame, grab all these edges. Well, first you have to combine them. Combine, grab all these edges, and I did a bridge. And that's how I got that thickness. Then all you want to do is you want to grab this face, extrude out, and then go into edge mode, grab this edge, shift right click, or instead of doing that in object mode, if you shift right click, you get this append polygon tool, and what you do is you select that, click on one edge, and it's gonna mark everything pink, and you're gonna see like a little arrow. You click on you can click on the arrow, but on the line itself, the pink line, and it'll fill up that mesh. And then you press Y to repeat command. Do the same thing on the other side. And if you want to just finalize, you just press enter. And then in the back, I left it open and then made all these verts, grab all these verts and made them straight. And that's how I got that. Then the rest, like that little indent, it was just, I did an extrusion, local offset, and then grabbed the whole ring and brought it down. And that was it for that piece. Then for this, it was the same thing as the big window. It's just small. Plus I added these, which is the same thing. You extrude down and then give it the shape. Easy. Now let's go into more advanced techniques like making these cloth sims. So the first thing you want to do, if you want to create like a bag, you duplicate the box, and this is because I want it to collide with the box. So if you want something to deform in the shape of the box, this is what you do. You come get the box, and I want 2 boxes because I want it to stop and not slide on the ground. Then I'll create a plane that will be the ground. I will create a cube, and then increase the width and the height. Well, not the height, the depth. Give it some subdivisions. And you need plenty for this to work. Then I'll come over here, and what I want to do is a process called making this like a cloth. This is a little technique that I've learned a long time ago. What you do is you grab the mesh, freeze transformations, right, and delete the history just to start fresh. Then in the modeling tab, just press FX, and you're going to have this option appear. It's called end cloth. Click on end cloth and create an end cloth. What you want to do now is press Ctrl A to get into the channel editor, and you're going to have the cloth shape. What you want to do is click on it and come down where it says pressure. Make this 1, and then press play. And you're going to see you're going to have like a little pillow. Then what you could do is, if you leave it, it'll keep simulating. So now if you grab these 3 and click end cloth again, passive collider, you see it's going to collide with it. But this is not what we want currently, because it's just going to lay flat. So what you want is just press play until you get the pillow shape. Then grab it, grab that mesh and press D to create a replica. This replica is a clean mesh. It's not attached to none of the nodes for the end cloth simulation. So what you want to do is grab the previous one and all these nodes that were created in the outliner. So the nucleus, end cloth, and all the rigid bodies. Rigid bodies are the colliding bodies. You just delete those. Now what you want to do is place the pillow where you want it to deform. Like so. Then put the box next to it. And then what you want to do is grab the pillow again and cloth. Then grab all these 3, passive collider. And if you press play, you're gonna see it's gonna deform, but it's kind of hard. We want it to deform more. So select the pillow, press Ctrl A to get on this menu, and you're gonna see that it has an end cloth shape. What you want to do is come in, drop down in the mass, make it like 1000. And if you simulate again, you're gonna see it's gonna drop more. And then we want to come up, bend resistance, drop it to 0 so that it deforms. Now I have something that I like, and all I want to do is duplicate that and it doesn't look very appealing, because for it to actually look better, you need more faces, but that's not efficient for a game. So what I want to do now is smooth this out, and the easiest way to smooth this out is if you shift right click and sculpt tools. This is going to be in sculpting mode, and if you go to sculpting, press this one, that will relax your edge flow, and then you just click on the areas that you look that are kind of messed up, like so. And if your brush is big, just press B, left click and drag, and you can scale your brush. Also, you have a smooth brush as well, and these you can just smooth your mesh like that. And then when you're done, what you want to do is delete the history, freeze transformation, and now you have a pillow that you can place anywhere, or a sack. And that's how I did this one. But if you see mine has more subdivision, so that's why it deformed, like it deformed there. Now, for a sheet like this, what you want to do, you can leave this there, and let's delete one of them, and then create a plane. I like to do this with a plane, and then after I'm done simulating, I give it thickness. So let's do the same thing. Press T, increase the width, and increase the height. And what you want to do here is increase the amount of verts. I will say probably 18 will be good for this, maybe. But if you come to the top view, the key of doing a simulation like this is make everything straight so that you don't have any angles on your meshes. Put your cloth on top and then scale it appropriately. What you want to do is make it somewhat bigger than what you have. So 150 and 150. And then let's make this 20 and 20. Okay. Then what we do is come in, grab the cloth, delete the history, restart transformation, and then we want to simulate this down. So all you want to do now, since this is a rigid body, grab the piece that you want to make an end cloth, create, and press play, and you're gonna see it's gonna start colliding. Then grab this, and the bend resistance, just drop it to 0 so that it bends more. And you see that it's going to bend, but it's going to start like sliding off your model. The way you get around this is in the enclosed shape properties. See how it's sliding? What you want to do is increase the stickiness. Make it 1, and then it will not move. It will just stick to the surface, like so. And then we want to come down, dynamic properties, and increase the mass. We'll make it 10,000. Let's see what it does. This is guesswork. There's not a formula for it. And now see how it dropped faster because it has more mass. And then mine has more faces, so that's why it deformed better. But this is perfect for a game. And now all you want to do is duplicate so that you get a clean mesh, and then delete all the meshes that you don't need. And then this you can put on top of any crate. Then for the UV process for this, if you click on it, it's just going to be a plain build, which is fine. It's completely good. Now you can apply a texture, and you can put a tileable on it and increase it. And then after you're done with your cloth, you grab the faces, right click, extrude, and give it a little bit of thickness, like so. Just keep in mind that when you do extrude, you're duplicating the number of faces. Well, you're doubling the number of faces, so keep that in mind. Mine has 3,000. That's fine. For any model that is going to the engine, you want to keep it really low. The limit is going to be 68,000 faces. If you have something that is more than 68,000 faces, it's going to eat on your performance really bad. So you always want to keep it under that. And mostly no model should reach that level unless it's like a hero piece, which is like a character or a gun, something that you want to display. But for our purposes, since we're just doing a little demo, it's fine to go a little bit over it if you want more detail, but try to keep it low as always. So that's how I did this one. For this one, it was the same process. I created the crate first, then I created another plane, like so. Went into the top view, aligned. I like always to make stuff straight. It's easier to work with. So this one, it was longer here, and then thinner here. And this is important. See how these verts are stretched out? What you want to do is make them more squarish. So this is perfect. Now what you want to do is, this one is easier than the other one. So come in, freeze transformation, delete history, grab it, end cloth, create. Then grab the crate, passive collider, and then simulate. And it simulates just like that. And if it's too long, then you can just grab all these faces and delete what you don't need. Like so. And then if you want to resimulate, just press rewind, press play. And then if this looks good for you, then all you want to do is the same thing that we did before. Select the mesh, duplicate it. Now you have a clean mesh. Grab the old one, all the rigid bodies, and delete them. And then grab all the faces, extrude, give it a little bit of thickness, and you're done. And that's how you do these types. Now for this one, this is a little bit more interesting. So we want it to fall, but we want this area to like fall in. So this is what you do. You create a plane. Let's create a plane like so. Let's make it 100 and then make it 200. Then increase the count. But then what you want to do for this one is you want to add more edge loops on the edges, because you want the edges just to fold like we have in the picture here. So what you do is you come in, shift right click, insert edge loop tool, and if you double click on the tool you can get the menu. Then I'll add 4 edge loops. I'll add 4 here, 4 here, and 4 here. Then I'll bring it up a little bit, and then what I want to do is I'll give it a slight angle. Then freeze transformation, delete history. Then if you create a end cloth, it's going to simulate, but it's gonna just fall down. So now what you want to do is select the mesh, right click, and go into vertex mode, select the vertices on the corner, and then come into end cloth, actually not end cloth, constraint, and then transform constraint. What it'll do is it'll stick those points in space and it will not let them simulate. So now you see that you have a little bit of pull. So now what you want to do is come into the middle vertex and grab, let's say, these 2 verts and these 2 verts, and do the same thing, and constraint, transform, and then simulate, and you're gonna get that. Now if you want this to be a little bit lower, we could do 2 things. Press Control A, come into the click on the cloth, then come into collision, dynamic properties. You can increase the mass if you want so that it falls faster, like so. But now you see that you don't have that push, the extra push that we need. So what you do is create a sphere, because we're gonna artificially push it. So then we increase the sphere, we put it where we want, we deform the sphere however we want. We want a little bit, we want a little bit of push. So there we go. Now we're gonna make this into a passive collider, and you can intersect. Once it intersects, when you press simulate, it's just gonna push it down really quick. So end cloth, passive collider, and you see now you got a little bit of push, and then you just wait until it rests and then press stop. Then if you hide it, you have not a nice cloth like this. And then all you want to do is the same thing. Grab it, select the mesh, Control D to duplicate, then delete this and all the nodes related to the thing, and then place it wherever you need. And those are some of the advanced techniques for this, how you create these end cloths things, meshes, so that you can lay on top of any mesh that you want. So then on the next video, I'm just gonna go straight into Unreal and import all these meshes. And we're just gonna start creating our environment, because this sprint, all we want to do is focus on Unreal so that we can just form all our meshes and our environment. So try to like model like little pieces, like these poles, which are simple. Do the actual flag, this piece right here. If you have time to create the crates are simple, it's just cubes and deforming. The picks, for the picks, look at my pick, is easy. I started with a cylinder and then just extruded some of the edges for the outside to make the pick real easy. And for the shovel, same thing. I just cylinder, then grabbed a cube, create this out of the cube, or not even, grab some of the faces from the side of the cylinder and extrude them, and then started just pulling verts all around, and that's how I created that. Then one important thing for this drape, for the UVs, you want always, since we're gonna have a logo here, you want this piece and this piece flat on the sheet, and then the borders doesn't really matter because that's a solid color, but this has to be flat and straight, so that in Substance I'm gonna teach you how to import an alpha and just apply whatever logo you want on the flag, so that you have your logo or your image in the window. And that's what we're gonna do just for this video. In the next one, you're gonna see me in Substance just teaching you the techniques of the alphas, just to apply logos and stuff like that. See you in the next one.